Good afternoon, everyone. You're talking hospitality with the recruiter guys. I'm Gary Turner.
Carey Stinson.
How you doing, Carey?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. This has been a blast, and I'm really excited about today's show.
I'm excited about today's show. I'm also excited about today's weather. It's a beautiful day. Our guest today is a very good friend, an amazing young man that I've known for several years, and just amazed by everything that he does and still sleeps. I'd like to introduce Omar Pereney with Culinary Matters. How are you today?
Hey, what's up, guys? Good. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be talking.
This is going to be fun. Thank you to being on the show, Omar.
Thank you for inviting me, Carey. Gary, I'm so excited to join you guys. Just sending you guys love from my corner here in downtown Houston.
Yes. I actually was down there yesterday. I saw the juice box. It's right out your front door. The Minute Maid Park.
Exactly. I would like to apologize in advance for downtown noises because it's a thing.
That's what makes it fun.
That's okay. That's okay. So, Omar, I'm not sure when you got to Houston exactly, but I met you when you.
November 15th of 2014.
2014. And I met you when you were with a couple of restaurants, and then I met you through Chris Tripoli and a la carte. And then we just saw each other at several different events. And you kind of went away for a little bit, and then you came back with Culinary Matters. And one, I love the name, but why don't you tell the listeners and viewers, by the way, a little bit about your company, and you're the principal of the company, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, Culinary Matters, you can see right now, it's Culinary Matters is a food innovation agency. So long story short, it's just a platform for me to do whatever I want, which is what I've been trying to do for a long time. In a nutshell, like I said, it's a food innovation agency or food consulting firm. And it really all starts with product. Food first. It all started with just group of chefs, sommeliers, mixologists, coffee roasters, barista, all about product development. And that, of course, started turning into some other things. And so now we do, commercial kitchen design. And then we help with a little bit of culinary graphic design or collateral. It turned into now you can come with us and we can help you open your restaurants. So it starts with, coming up with a concept and business planning, capital budgets, all that stuff, helping you a little bit with that, but then creating the concept and then creating the recipes, then creating all the systems and basically staying with you all the way till we open. So it's a restaurant consulting firm, but really we have a serious focus in product development and then all the, digital assets that will come with a consulting product or consulting service. So we open a restaurant and you get all the professional food photography done here at our studios. You get all the, of course, we develop all those recipes. But more importantly, we do it with our client's vision. So it's not like Omar sushi, Omar pasta, Omar pizza, Omar taco, right? It's like I really can sit in and appreciate and understand where client is coming from and understand how they want the story to end, and then helping them write that book. And more specifically, helping them come up with that menu and those recipes coming from their vision, but utilizing our expertise in culinary.
And is that just in Houston, or is it just Texas, or is it nationwide?
So we have clients all over the United States. The bulk of them are in Houston. And I think part of that is because our test kitchen is here in Houston. So it's really simple for clients to just drive in and enjoy that part of the development of the restaurant that does not need to be stressful. Everything about opening a restaurant, as you guys know very well, it's very stressful. You have to wear many hats. You have to vet a lot of professionals. You have to make a lot of decisions. But the menu part, the creativity part, that one you want to work with someone that has first of all, has a creative method, right? We're not just Googling out recipes and see what sticks. Work with people that have a creative method and that you can be a part of that creative method and come up with a menu. It's a lot of fun.
Well, and is it individual? So if they just need menu development, or they just need the cocktail, or are you doing everything, or it can be just as simple as just what they need?
Well, I'm going to respond using some of my mentors' words. Chris very well. Gary, Chris always said, and I love using his phrase, I always want to make best use of our time and our clients' funds. And I think that one is very important because
Yeah.
the truth is we are busy and we cannot really take, an endless or unlimited amount of projects per year because you can only be so creative, right? And so we really just want to take almost like, just what I just said, the best use of their funds, the best use of our time, and making sure that we only have so many projects so we can really put, our heart, our souls into those concepts.
And your office is in Houston. That's your only office?
Yes. So our office is here right across the street from the juice box.
Yeah. Yes, I know. So how do I know you've got a really good online presence. You're an excellent marketer of your company and your product and your skills and what you do. But what is your typical or the most fun client or customer, or what is your typical customer today coming out of everything?
It's kind of funny because for a lot of people that work in our industry, and what I mean by our industry is not the restaurant owners. I mean the people that service the restaurants, the different type of vendors or companies that service restaurants or that like to work with openings and whatnot. Most people don't want to work with first-time restaurant owners. And most, they're just a little stinky for most people. And I just love that segment. That is my favorite segment. I guess maybe I'm just addicted to the pain. I don't know what it is, but I really appreciate working with first-time restaurant owners. That's what we do. We not only are going to take over, helping them with the creative aspect and putting together all the systems, but it's kind of like a restaurant startup school, if you will. Because yes, we're going to do all the fun together, but we're going to teach you and we're going to make sure that you understand the whole process. And even though your restaurant or their restaurant is very unique, every restaurant, it's sort of the same. And so we make sure that, yes, we make it very unique and we're really working on those unique selling points when we create concepts and we create their food. But when it comes to, checking all the boxes, we want them to have the confidence and know that we're doing things in the same way that, the big players are. So my typical client is first-time restaurant owner. Yep.
Yeah, so
a crazy person.
you get them before they've made all the mistakes, and you get them before and you prevent them. You help them not make those mistakes because you've been there. You've been through several openings, many openings. So that's pretty smart. And anybody that's opening a new restaurant should be extremely happy to have someone like you guiding them through the steps from the first nail or the signed lease, the liquor license, to the now open sign.
I'm glad you mentioned that. And well, there's two things. The first one is like even really good operators will never be expert openers. And I think it takes a little bit of self-awareness to know what you're really good at. And I'm just really good at opening restaurants. I'm not the best operator in the world that can, maintain a culture for 30 years. I'm not even 30 years, period.
Right.
But what I
in life.
right, in life. But what I can do is create a culture, right? I really love openings because they're very stressful and I thrive under stress. And I can lead teams in very stressful situations or environments. That's the thing that I do really good. So if let's say you have 3 restaurants, but you open one every 3 years, you're not an expert opener.
No.
You're an expert operator. So if you want a hyper dedicated team of crazy people that all they do is openings, and we're doing 8, sometimes 10 openings in a year, you should really give us a call.
Well, so Omar, how are you helping your clients these days with everything that's changing, right? Staff hiring, supply chain, all these challenges. How are you able to help them through these, crazy times?
Well, the first thing is that, and I think that kind of applies to every industry, being flexible, being able to adapt is the single thing that makes companies and people survive. So generally speaking, just being able to adapt, it's a very important thing. And that's one thing that we help our clients with. We're also not creating concepts for the past. We're not looking at the industry the way it's always been. We really try really hard to look at the industry the way it's going to be. So we want to create concepts that, yes, are going to thrive in the post-COVID era, but also if it ever comes back, we want to make sure that, we already know, what to do when it comes to third-party delivery service. We want to know, do we want to do third-party or do we want to do first-party delivery? Do we want to come up with a menu that maybe doesn't travel well? And let's go back and question, some of those breakfast items that maybe don't travel that well. We just want to make sure that we have, an eye in the future. But we're also humbled sometimes by the circumstances and the world. It's just crazy. So sometimes you just need to be ready to adapt. The other thing is, well, I like to see more hyper-focused concepts. And I say this loud because most of my clients will be first-time restaurant owners. We do work with big companies, with some other services that we do, more like helping them streamline operations, things like that, inventories and whatnot. But for the first-time restaurant owner, what you want is to build confidence with yourself. You want to have confidence. You want your team to have confidence. So go ahead and open something hyper-focused. Let's not try to do Cheesecake Factory. Cheesecake Factory, if you're out there, you can sponsor this show, please. But guys, you're opening a new restaurant. Let's come up with something really unique and really simple. Why can't we do a really interesting pizza concept? Why can't we do the next, incredible hamburger concept? That's not me trying to be lazy. What I want is to set up people for success. So it's better to have an incredible hamburger concept where you're doing slow fermentation in your buns and you're coming up with a really specific, unique formula for your bread. And maybe you're using a special infused type of butter to toast your buns and you're grinding your meat in-house and those kinds of things. That it's simple, but making something simple awesome, it takes a lot of work. It's challenging. So I think if you're opening your first restaurant, don't try to show the world everything you know in one concept. And that's going to save you a lot of headache and potentially going to save your life or your business if we go through another pandemic.
No, we're not going to. So let me ask you this. So somebody walks up to you and says, I've got a lot of dough and I want to open a restaurant. I mean, have you, besides talking them out of it, no, have you worked with like concept inception and ideas of the concept? If you had a space or if you had, or do you like taking the inkling of an idea from the owner operator and expanding on it?
Well, I first try to just like shoot it in every direction and see if I can break it, right? Because if I can break it, then it's breakable. And so I think it comes back to how do they want the store to end? It's important for me, at least, what type of lifestyle they want to have, because all businesses can work. People say, oh, restaurants, 50% fail, whatever, in the first year, or 90% in the first 3 years. Some those numbers that are, first of all, ridiculous, because they're not looking at people are opening those concepts with no knowledge or previous experience. So I want to know what lifestyle you want if you want to open a restaurant, right? Because some people say, oh, I'd like to open a all-day cafe, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, that's great. And the logic behind it is, well, we're paying rent for the whole time, so might as well serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I say, at what time do you want to get up? Right? At what time do you want to go to bed? Because at the end of the day, what we know damn right is restaurants start and end in ownership. So I can build you a castle. We can design the most incredible concept for you, make you bold recipes, train your staff. And if you're not there, it's not going to work. So I really like to start from, how do you want the store to end? What's an ideal exit strategy for you? Because things always end somehow. And so if you tell me, oh, Omar, I want to open 2-3 locations, then sell it, then I kind of know what type of concept you want. If you say, oh, what I want is 3 Michelin stars down the road, then I know, kind of how you want the store to end. So exit strategy for me is important. Lifestyle is very important to me. And also, how much money are you willing to, basically risk to make this happen? Because some people say, well, I want to do a steakhouse with a dance floor, 5 PDRs, and I have $100,000.
Okay, give it to me and I'll be right back.
Exactly. Give me those $100,000 and I just saved you a lot of headache.
Exactly. Meet me once a year.
But yeah, after those stages, then we start kind of funneling down those ideas, and within a session or two, we know we can answer all those questions. And it turns out what you want is a hamburger concept. Great. It turns out what you want is a soul food restaurant. And then we can get to work.
Okay, so you,
Let's talk a little bit, and Gary, we talked about this with Omar. Let's talk a little bit about your background as a chef, where you started, where you built, the things you did, and then, yeah, I like your background. The juice box, I know. But let's talk a little bit about that and where it got you to where you are today.
Yes. So I am model 1994. I was born in Caracas, Venezuela. So my first language is Spanish. I started working in professional cooking in fine dining restaurants since I was 11 years old. I think it's still illegal to do that. So I don't know what. There's a lot of things
here.
in Venezuela that maybe it shouldn't happen, but nonetheless, it really helped me. So I was so fortunate to start working as an intern at perhaps the nicest restaurant in the city. And I was only 11 years old. So from there, just worked for free in every possible restaurant you can imagine in my city. So fine dining restaurant, then Japanese, then Thai, then Italian, then Spanish. And then when I was about 14 years old, my dad, he kept trying to get me to go on TV. Oh, look at you, you talk so well, you should have a TV show. I'm like, hell no, I am a cook, not an actor, sir. So one of these days he kept insisting. I said, do whatever you want, okay? Just whatever makes you happy. So he sent out an email to a bunch of networks, one of them being sort of the food network in Latin America. Is elgourmet.com is the network, and it airs on cable in every country in South America but Brazil. And they reached back out within 48 hours, just said, who's this kid? We want to meet him. We want to shoot a little pilot. And within 3 months, I had a signed contract. I was traveling to Argentina to film my cooking show. And that was crazy, nerve-wracking. And if you think about it, I was taking myself very seriously back then. So I really wanted Michelin stars back then. In my cooking show, I wish you guys could see it. It's hilarious. Like, it's me in my bedroom, and I have like bicycles and you know, like soccer balls behind me. It's pretty hysterical. So I kind of turned into the Doogie Howser, if you will, of culinary TV stuff in Latin America. So that was cool.
now, how old were you when you did your show?
14. Yeah, I did that for 5 seasons. It was a really successful show because, of course, people are weird like that. So they were like, oh my God, what is this kid doing? And trying to, you know, talk and act like an adult. So that was fun. Then when I got back, I was 15, about to turn 16. A group of investors approached me. So little they know about restaurant consulting. And they said, you want to be our partner? Let's open a big ass restaurant and we'll make you a partner. We'll give you sweat equity. I don't know what any of this means. But sure enough, I opened a restaurant and a lounge bar / club. They were connected through the kitchen, and I was only 16 years old. So that was lots of fun. That's when I opened my first restaurant.
Wow.
Of course, you already know I closed it within a year. So a lot of good lessons to be learned there. So then I moved to Miami, then New Jersey, then Philadelphia. I just kind of kept moving around at this point by myself. I had saved a little bit of money between, you know, the TV shows and the restaurant to like just go and travel the world. My parents let me. So I left home when I was 16, about 16, 17, and went, like I said, Miami, New Jersey, Philadelphia. Then I moved to Cancun in Mexico, where I became the youngest instructor for Le Cordon Bleu. That was fun too. And I did that when I was 18 years old. And then when I was 19, I moved to Mexico City. And then I became corporate chef for a 4 restaurant, seafood restaurant group. And so we have 4 locations, to Mexico City, to Acapulco, and kind of travel between them, and started developing with that company the restaurant or the concept that will bring me to the States. That's where we met. So they opened Pesca here in Houston. They wanted me to be the executive chef. So I developed the menu from Mexico City. And then I moved over here. Did that project for about 3 years. And then it's like I don't know if I got fired or if I quit. It's kind of hard to tell at this point. It's all blurry. I think I got fired. They think that I quit. It doesn't really matter at this point.
But you're not there anymore, right?
Because it's the
And
best
neither
thing
is it.
that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
So after that, I reached out to Chris Tripoli, and he made some space for me at his company. Started as a culinary specialist, then culinary director, then bought some stock in the company, and then he retired. And then later I sold that stock and started Culinary Matters, basically. And in the meantime, because in consulting, when you're starting, you're not up to your elbows. People don't know you exist until they do. So while I was doing different things, I was also approached via email by some people saying, hey, do you want to do private cooking for this high profile couple? And I said, well, that's cute and all, but no. I don't really do private cooking, it's not my passion. And then they responded, well, we understand, we just want you to know that it's for Mr. and Mrs. Bush. So I was
The former presidents.
I was driving to Alexandria, Louisiana for a project, and I literally U-turned. And next morning I was at President Bush's office, and they hired me on the spot, and it was awesome. I was with them for a few months, and it was an incredible experience. So after that, continue doing consulting, and now Culinary Matters. So that's in a nutshell. It's been a lot of fun, man. Culinary, people, it's impressive to me how people didn't think or don't realize till today that the food world is an extremely rewarding career, and you can make a really good life just cooking, making people feel special.
Well, that resume obviously is very unique and very interesting, but it gives you all of that, right? The flexibility and all the things you've learned over the years. My gosh, to be able to take that to a client, it's got to be a really unique experience.
Well, yeah, and especially the openings, and consulting itself has so much rewards again, because there's a lot of concepts that you can open as a chef, but you would never be exposed to a lot of other concepts unless you're consulting, because I can kind of play a little bit with Korean or Chinese or Thai or Argentinian or whatever. When you're a chef, you're kind of trying to do your own thing. Whereas when you're doing consulting, it's not about you at all. And so that's when I get exposed to a lot of concepts that I would have never been otherwise. And I love that. It's made me a 10 times better cook. Of course, also a better person. But in this process, I've gotten to work on what I just said, like Peruvian, Chinese, Korean, a lot of really cool concepts, and especially the ethnic concepts that I would have not been exposed to otherwise. So I love consulting, man.
I am just intrigued. In Cancun, you were the head instructor for the Cordon Bleu.
I was teaching American cuisine. So
to the Mexican chefs, or to.
So it was culinary students. So it's a culinary school.
Right.
It was a French culinary school in Cancun, really high end. They have an incredible pastry program, and they taught me a lot of discipline that I was definitely needing.
Speaking of pastries.
Exactly. What are we speaking about?
Tell us about your new idea.
Yes, of course. So, this year, I've really been excited about trying to do a case study. And also, by doing consulting, I realized I'm not a cook exclusively. And I also realized that in life, you can be different things, not just one thing. I was told too many times that if you're a jack of all trades, you're a master of none. And that resonated with me too much. And I feel like it was stopping me from doing other things. Now I realize times have changed, and there is such thing as being a jack of all trades and doing it successfully. So I've kind of shifted from being just a cook or a chef to now being a consultant and now being an entrepreneur. So I do a lot of little things on the side that not a lot of people know about. And one of them is this year I decided to start a new company, and I want to do a case study and basically show the world that you can create a concept without a lot of money, or without money in my case. So I'm incubating a new concept. You guys will know about it really, really soon. And it's very layered. It's layered. It's flaky, like a lot of my former friends. And it's all about croissant. And so, yeah, so this year,
That looks like a piece of artwork.
exactly.
That's beautiful.
You know, I definitely think, and I haven't been formally diagnosed, but I think I'm OCD. And croissant, it's just it's the most therapeutic thing I've ever done. And it's something that I get to enjoy when everything is quiet around here. Like I can come at 5 in the morning and just work on, you know, my technique, my laminations, my combinations. And so, yeah, everyone's gonna hear about some really cool croissant concept coming out of our test kitchen very, very soon. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm excited about that, man.
Yeah, yeah. Now, is you gonna have stores all over the city, or how am I gonna know where to get it?
So, well, the first thing is it's a marketing thing to begin with. So we're gonna do farmers market. We're selecting a really cool farmers market to be in here in Houston. So the farmers market's gonna be our only retail presence to begin with. In the process of building commissary kitchen right now, we're gonna start doing only online, and maybe after a year, maybe I'll raise some capital. If you investors are out there and you really want to give me your money, I challenge you to wait a few months. So that way we don't have to give a lot of equity in exchange for your money. Yeah, in about I guess a year or so, when this passion project it's very established and solid, then we'll look for brick and mortars. Yeah, I love restaurants, you know, I love having an actual location, but right now I'm just gonna do it kind of like quietly until it turns into something real big, and I really just want people to love it, you know. This right. Is I do a lot of things in business, and this one I'm not doing it just for business or for business. This one is for me.
Well, then that's your passion. So, you know, so if I want to at the farmer's market, I could get like 3 or 6 croissants as they are, but you're also going to have croissants with fillings too, right?
Oh yeah. So my intention there is to really combine the savory technique or the culinary technique with the croissant technique. So what I want to do there is, you know, basically like, let's say you're a chef in New York, right? The most beautiful thing to do is to just walk to the farmer's market right there in Union Square and just see what, you know, what the season's got to offer. You know, look at the tomatoes and look at the herbs and look at the vegetables and the fruits and, you know, stone fruit if you're in stone fruit season, or if you want, you know, apples or whatever. And so I want to do that. I just want to walk down the farmer's market, see what's going on. Like I said, this is not a money play, so I'm not looking to do asparagus for New Year's like everybody wants. Like I want to do seasonal, you know, very much creative, driven by creativity, driven by seasonality, and just having a really refined technique. But also the most important thing there for me, I think, in the croissant is I don't want people to think of croissants like they always have thought of it. They always thought of croissants like something you can only get in the morning. And if you get a croissant at, say, at 1 p.m. or 2 p.m., then you get a stale-ish croissant. Because the truth is they don't last very long, right? Like 5 hours out after they left the oven, it's just not the same product anymore. So I want to challenge people to think of croissant as they think of pizza. If you want a pizza, you have to think about it before, right? You don't just, I mean, there's some types of pizza that you can grab out of a hot box, but really good Neapolitan style pizza, maybe you get to think about it only 30 minutes or an hour before. But that dough, you know, it's been slow fermentation in you know, refrigerated for at least 48 hours, if not more. So I want to do just that. I want people to say, I want to eat a perfectly flaky croissant, fresh out of the oven at 4:30 p.m. and let me know 2 hours before. Maybe that's too much to ask, but let's see what happens.
You mentioned walking down the farmer's market. I used to walk it, just go there. I love going to the farmer's market. But what I enjoyed watching was the chef inspect everything. I knew what he was doing. He was figuring out tonight's special, off the menu special. So he goes to the fishmonger, then he goes to the butcher if he wants to, or then he goes to the produce. It's really, I really enjoy watching that. Just an artist at work, filling his palate.
Oh, if you go to Union Square at 6 in the morning, I'm pretty sure they do Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays in New York. You see all the sous chefs from all this, really cool Michelin star restaurants. They're all fighting over herbs and tomatoes. And I think that's really cool. And I think Houston needs more of that. I would love it if soon we can have farmers markets, not just once or twice a week, but every other day. And that's really going to change the way we think food, not only as chefs, but also as consumers. Let's talk hospitality now. I'm sorry, this is not my show. I forgot.
You talk about what you want to talk about. I did have one question. Working with your current clients in today's climate, what seemed to be their biggest, I don't want to say fears, but their biggest concerns? Is it still staffing? Is it still what when you talk to them about, opening dates and stuff? I mean, what is their concerns?
Well, so the first one, when they have never opened, they're just wondering if people will come, right? But that's easy to overcome, because if you do something good, people will come. So if you do the right marketing, if you hire the right people, people will come. So let's kind of skip that concern and go into the two biggest concerns or responsibilities for things that you have to manage. And those would be food cost and labor cost, or food and labor, right? So the first one is obviously labor, because it's the biggest expense they will ever have. And so for that, that's when I say, well, let's design a restaurant that you will want to own. So let's, again, going back to the hyper-focused concept. So we can create concepts that are extremely labor intensive, just like we can create concepts that are less labor intensive, maybe a little bit more food cost intensive. So labor, it's always going to be a concern. That's why I always send people your way, because finding the right people makes a huge difference. Like, it's not just having warm bodies in a building. The people do make or break the business. And as an owner, you're very much responsible for the people that you put in place. And not only just the people, but also creating the right culture and nurturing that people so that they want to work. Work sucks, you guys. That's why you have to pay people for it. So you have to inspire people. You have to make them feel special. You have to make them, want to be a part of this organization. And especially people my generation, which is the generation that runs the hospitality right now industry. For some reason, we like to be part of something bigger. We want to know why we're doing things. And so that's very important from a labor, point of view.
Right.
Just make sure that you're creating a right environment and you're nurturing people's lives, because otherwise they're just going to leave you for 50 cents. And we know how much that sucks. So that's on the labor.
That's very true. Leave you for 50 cents. Yeah, unfortunately. But like you said, if you create a great culture, a great environment, and you train properly so where they know what they're supposed to do, then, I mean, I've seen restaurants, there's waitresses still here, and I was visiting them in 1993, and there's still staffs that are working there because they created that environment. And
we've seen the same person, because a lot of times it's really easy for leaders to say, oh, well, my cook's this, or my server's this, or my host is that. And the first thing that I believe you should practice as a leader is being extremist with accountability. Like, you really are responsible for everything. And if you're not responsible for it, then you cannot fix it. And I have literally seen the same person work really well at one job and then clock out, go to the other one, and be a horrible employee. So it's not about the people. It really is about the culture of the place. And that does make a huge difference. Then the other thing that people are really worried about now is, of course, cost. So a lot of the people that closed restaurants that went, or concepts that went out of business during, the pandemic, some of them were obviously, well, because of, well, everybody knows the pandemic, but also a lot of them had underlying conditions, and people don't like to talk about it. Like, people were just overly confident. People were not doing inventory. People didn't understand their usage. People didn't know what their cost was. People were not logging invoices. People didn't check prices. A lot of things. They didn't check portions. You know, they priced their menus years ago and then just never touched that file ever again. And so now everyone, the little guy, the big guy, medium, everyone cares about cost. And that's kind of why we started a new division in the company, in which we've partnered with Toast and Extra Chef. And, you know, Extra Chef is a phenomenal inventory. It's really started as an invoice automation platform where you basically take a picture of your invoice and turns it into actual data right away, through powered with artificial intelligence. So it's really cool. And then now it was just acquired by Toast. So it links to your point of sale. So what we do is we have a team of hypercare, basically chefs with accounting knowledge. And we bridge the gap between the chefs that they don't want to talk to anyone and the accountants. They don't want to talk to the chefs either. So we're in the middle and we're helping lots of clients, especially this service we're doing. We're working with clients literally all over the country, where we're building all their database. And all you want is to be a radiologist. All these people, they're sound operators. They know what they're doing. They know how to make decisions. They just don't have the right information to make this decision. So we come in and we're going to clean all the data. We're going to literally leave them with shelf to sheet inventories, everything linked, all the recipes, all the menu items. They can see through everything on a regular basis. You can check anytime what your food cost is, what your usage is. And if everything looks out of whack, then you can make a decision right then. And I think it's not even the future. That's something that if you're not doing that today, you should definitely be looking into this. And I don't sell Extra Chef. I just really want people to know where they're at. You know, when you're a chef and your bonuses or your general manager, your bonus structure is based on food costs, you always hate the accountant because the accountant's coming, you know, yeah, it's just coming with bad news to slap your hand and say, you did so bad last month. See, accountants, when they come, it's too late. They're almost like hospice. Like, you know, accountants should be there for confirmation, not for information. You should have the information. You should be able to make the decision. And then accountants should just confirm what you should already know if you're doing things correctly.
Well, and also another thing that the systems that a lot of restaurants are going to now, they do one thing that I think is really important. You have more time to spend with your staff, your customer, and your product. Oh, yeah. You know, if you can just hold up the invoice and it takes a picture and it's in your system and it's pulled everything out and put produce with produce, meat with meat, fish with fish, you know, then that just takes hours a week of your time where you're spending it where you're most needed. That's why I love technology.
Technology loves you too, Gary.
No, it doesn't. Well, I just want to say this has been most enjoyable for me. How about you, Carey? Did you have fun?
Great. I loved it.
Yeah, we have to have you back on down the road. Yeah, it's wonderful because we got to talk. We got a whole bunch more to talk about. But today, I really, really want to thank everybody that's going to listen and going to see us. We've been talking hospitality with the recruiter guys and Omar Pereney of Culinary Matters, and it has sure been great to have you on, Omar.
Thank you so much, Carey. Gary, it's my pleasure. Looking forward to see you guys soon and talking hospitality next time with a carajillo in our hand.
Hold on.
I'm old enough to drink.
Watch for the episode. You can see it on, you can see the dates and times on all of the social media and on our website, www.hprosearch.com. Have a wonderful week.